Today we're talking family road trips because spring break is coming up. Who's excited about those?
I am.
Hello and welcome to Couple Chat.
Where we
Parents.
discuss topics for you.
Parents. I'm Matt.
I'm Jackie. Let's chat. Who doesn't love a good road trip?
We used to.
With kids? Not so much. But we make the best of it. And I think that we have it.
If you're going to say down, I don't know what road trips you've been on with us.
We have it figured out.
The last road trip we were on, I mean, I guess this last Vermont trip was better because, you know, we didn't go to Nashville first. That was last year. Last year. It was 2022.
Right. That was, Emma was 5 months old.
Yeah, no, I know. And I remember her being very upset most of the time.
It was more so at the end of every leg.
Yeah.
She was hungry. She was stuck in a car seat for too long.
Yeah.
She wasn't walking yet. She wasn't really able to stretch her legs like Nate was.
5 months?
She was 5 months old.
No, because it was July, so she was 7 months old. She's born in January. 6 months old.
She was 6 months old. Sorry. Nate was 5 months old in July when we went to Vermont that first time.
Sure. But a Vermont trip is, while still a road trip, nothing like Florida or Nashville to then
New
York and
Vermont.
then Vermont. Yeah, that was bad.
Yeah.
That was bad. We literally hated every moment of that, unfortunately.
The first day was great.
Yeah, when we were traveling down and we stopped in West Virginia.
Thought it was Virginia.
Yeah, for 4th of July. That was amazing.
Yeah. That was the best part of the trip.
Yeah. I mean, there were parts of Nashville that were fine, but yeah, it's just, so spring break is coming up and we are planning a road trip because we're crazy
to Florida. Yeah,
to Florida with a 4 and a 2-year-old. And this is the first time we're traveling to Florida with both of them. We well, technically not, right? Technically, we did travel to Florida with both of them, but you were pregnant.
That doesn't count. She was in my belly.
I know.
I was, 16 weeks pregnant?
No, it was October.
Oh, so I was 6 months pregnant, though.
Right.
Yeah. No, it doesn't count.
No, I know. Of course it doesn't, But anyway, it's this is the first time. This is the first time we're going on this long of a road trip with them. You realize, because even the Nashville roundabout to Vermont, I think was only 13 hours.
The Jersey to Nashville was 13. The Nashville to Vermont was 18.
Whatever the time was, I still think that Nashville was longer. And regardless, yes, they were both very different ages. Nate's better in the car now. Emma's okay. The problem is when they're both together.
Yeah.
That's always the problem. And for any of you thinking about doing a road trip to anywhere this spring break, it's coming up very quickly. Just have things for your children to do and eat.
Yes. I mean, all that and more.
Yeah.
So things to do not only inside the car, but also outside the car.
Right.
Because, there's only so many books they can look at for a 18-hour drive and toys they could play with and new things you can get them because it's like, oh, this isn't a new thing. It's out of the bookshelf that you never touch. Here you go. New book. Yay. Or, the old crayons with the new paper drawn. That'll really be like our tricks and trying to distract at least Nate. Also, get a 3-row vehicle if you don't already have one. Because what our plan is put Nate in the way, way back where he can't bother anybody.
Well, it's not like that. It's just him and Emma in the same row. They like to annoy each other. It's not even just him. Like, she's annoying. They pass things back and forth. They yell at each other, whatever the case. Yeah. And he's already like we've asked him, we were like, oh, Nate, you want to sit all the way in the back? And like, he likes the idea. We've done it before. But one of the issues is, and I said this to her, I was like, well, that's fine. But what are we going to do if we need to pass him stuff or he needs to pass us stuff?
I have an idea. I've seen it already and it works. You get like a little cubby that has a handle and you get one of those clampy stick things and you clamp it onto the bin and you feed it into the back of the car and the kid will take it out of the basket and then you bring the basket back up and you refill it with more stuff. Or you give them their own little like shower caddy full of stuff. Like a shower caddy with like, you know, little snacks, a book, or like new stuff for him to play with.
I think it will be a little bit of both, you know, because we want to be able to have him have some stuff and then also be able to, we have control over certain things.
Yeah, snacks.
Snacks, toys, anything really, because that's another mistake that you can really make on a road trip, and that's giving them too much at once.
Right.
Like, just like us, I mean, kids get overwhelmed pretty easily. And if you just throw everything at them, they'll play with everything for a few minutes, just get sick of it really quick or like overstimulated. And then they don't know what to do. It's not that they're bored. Yeah. I mean, I don't think that they're bored. It's just there's too much to do.
Sure.
You know?
Yeah.
So I think we have to almost set a schedule or something like that. I know you've been doing a lot of research. So what other ideas do you have for that?
So there's this thing that I've seen where I kind of want to modify it so we're not wasting paper, but it's where you kind of like are showing the pass of time by having a physical item that you're like ripping apart, like a ring garland that you made with them, and then you're like, okay, another hour's over, and like you break these rings apart and it shows them like how many hours are left till we get to our destination for the day or wherever we're going. So that's really cool. I was thinking more of something like a drawing board, like an expo marker drawing board, and just having like an image that we can either like color in or even like erase parts of and kind of do something cool like that, because I think Nate would really have fun with that. Yeah.
And then what ways do you have to like space out the things that we're doing? I know one of my favorite things that we've already done and it works wonders.
It does.
Is, and yes, this will prolong your trip, but honestly, we take road trips as what they are. There are so many people that are like, no, I'm going for a destination. And they're rushing to get there. And I think you're losing one of the benefits of a road trip, and it's a road trip. You are going to experience more than just your destination. You found a unique way, and I think this was something that when we initially were doing a road trip with Nate the first time that you researched this, but you found a unique way to keep us from all getting too tired in the car, and it was so much fun. And that was just stopping every 2 hours and finding something fun for him to do.
Right.
It was geared towards him. It wasn't like, hey, we're going to do something for ourselves. Like usually you and I, it's like we stop and we eat or we go to Cracker Barrel or something like that. Like, yeah, we could go to Cracker Barrel and spend a nice, time for lunch or something and look around the store a little bit and then we're out. But we are adults. That's boring for kids.
Right.
And not only that, but Cracker Barrel's filled with toys that the kid wants that they can't really play with in the car anyway. So it doesn't really help.
Game well played, Cracker Barrel. Yeah. Well played.
Yeah. I mean, we love Cracker Barrel and we're still going to stop there, but in different and unique ways than we have in the past.
Yeah.
But anyway, so if you want to talk a little bit about how you figured out that 2 hour thing and then some of the things we've done in the past, and maybe, I don't know if you have anything planned already for this road trip.
So I've seen this before where it's like, oh, make sure to like get them out of the car, stretch their legs, whatever. And a lot of people just stop at rest stops along their route. But for us, I find that we prefer doing things at these places like Cracker Barrel, like you were saying. We like walking around the store, and we'll even like let Nate take one of the shopping carts, the little toy shopping carts. It backfires every time.
Yeah.
But we somehow get him back to the table to eat or to the car if we're leaving.
Yeah.
Because we avoid it like the plague. But, there's only so many Cracker Barrels we can visit along our route before it gets a little monotonous. So
plus you're sitting again most of the time.
Right, that's the thing. You go there and you sit, and it's like, ugh. But I did some research on how to like travel with a toddler, and a lot of people said, get out, go do something. If you're gonna eat on your road trip, when you stop, pick it up to go and go sit at a park so your kid could still run around. You guys can take shifts, and like one parent can go and play with the kid while the other one eats quick, and then vice versa. Tag team like we do everything else with.
Right.
But so I was like, oh, great. So let me find a park within like a 10-mile or not even like a 10-minute drive from a local Cracker Barrel or somewhere we would stop.
Yeah.
And that would be kind of how I would determine where that 2-hour break would be. Because for lunch, we always ordered to go. Like we didn't really sit for lunch. We would sit for breakfast just because, we're on our first leg of the trip.
Yeah.
We really like Cracker Barrel breakfast.
I do miss those days.
Yeah, that was nice.
Yeah.
And then depending on what dinner is, because like if we're close enough to the hotel, we'll go there, we'll get dinner, we'll bring it back to the hotel. Yeah. Or if it's like still an hour or so away, we'll try and stop for dinner. It really all depends on like where we are in our route. Because the drive to Florida from where we are is about 18 hours, 18 and a half. So, we have to split up our days, not only by one day driving such amount of hours in the other day, but also adding in those hour increments every 2 hours or however long we're going to stop.
Right.
And that's the thing too, like 30 minutes started out fine when he was little, but now that these two are just like whips, I don't know if we're going to be able to just stop for a half hour.
We'll see what happens. We do have to reel them in and,
Oh, for sure. There's definitely always a timer. So that's something too that we've set in place. Like when we go to a place, we're like, okay, timer's starting. When you hear the alarm, that's 5 minutes. Like we do try to really instill, especially for Nate, because he works very good on a schedule. We really try to instill, okay, we're only here for a brief time. Right. We have a destination. We will be going somewhere. Like we're not just doing this for fun.
Yeah.
We have a goal.
I feel like that helps too, like to tell him like, oh, dude, remember, we're going to Florida. We're going to go see, like what, I don't even know, or how much are we going to tell him? Like, are we going to, we're going to Disney. He understands Disney because he watches Disney Plus.
Yeah.
So I feel like if we tell him that, he might understand. Because I don't know, like, how much do we say? Because we're going to Universal too. Do we tell him about Harry Potter?
Do they know that there are theme parks, though? Because, like, yeah, they've been to Storybook Land, but, like, do they understand what Disney means? Like,
no, but I think that's even more magical.
We're not going to Magic Kingdom, though.
I know.
We're going to Hollywood Studios for us.
No. It's for both of them, too, because they don't really watch Disney particularly.
No.
They watch Pixar movies.
True.
We're not, we just never have really been big Disney people between the two of us. We watch Disney, or we watch Pixar movies.
Yeah, Pixar's our go-to. Like
we're not real big princess people. So
no. I mean, we have our few that we like Moana and that's really it.
No, that's not true. We're talking, like our 90s movies. Like I'm a huge Beauty and the Beast fan.
Oh, sure. Yeah, well, they have the Beauty and the Beast show and like all that.
True. That's at Magic Kingdom though.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
From what I was looking at, I think that's at Magic Kingdom.
But really, look, I'm going to play a bit of a selfish card here, but honestly, the big reason why I want to go to the Hollywood Studios is because of Galaxy's Edge.
Right.
Haven't been there yet. There are parts of me that want to see it. There are parts of me that don't care because it's more geared towards the sequel trilogy. But at the same time, if we're going and it's open, like it's just, this is the opportunity to do it.
Especially because they're only doing one park one day.
Right.
So like, why not go to a park that not only has stuff for them, like, because we know Nate knows Toy Story. We know like they'll be able to have fun in that area. And then we know Nate actually like recognizes Star Wars.
Right.
So he'll still enjoy himself. He may not understand everything like we will, but
sure.
I think it'll definitely be eye-opening for sure.
I think, honestly, so it's been a while since we've been to one of these parks, but the hardest thing is going to be the lines.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know like how many rides we'll actually get to go on, but realistically, I think especially in the Star Wars area that Nate will really like freak out about is the characters walking around.
Yeah.
Like Chewbacca walks around. He knows who Chewbacca is. If they have R2 and C3PO riding around,
right.
I think he'll like go bananas for that.
Yeah.
You
And
know?
if they have Darth Vader, he doesn't really know Kylo
they do
Ren.
Kylo Ren.
Yeah.
So annoying. Sorry.
But he knows stormtroopers.
Yeah, that's true. He will.
So he might pew at some stormtroopers.
Yeah. He might think Kylo Ren is Vader, to be honest. And I'd be like, yeah, that's fine. Let's just walk away from him.
Ignore that one.
You don't need to know. You don't need to know about that whiny guy.
And then ignore the girl with the 3 buns. Don't even look at her.
Yeah,
She's nothing.
Hahns.
No one.
Yeah. Who are you? No.
Han Solo.
No.
Her?
No. Right.
Oh.
Right who? Stupid freaking movie.
And this is why Matt doesn't want to go, because a lot of it is going to be based on the new stuff. So anyway, I really like doing those breaks in between, stopping at those restaurants, getting food to go to a local place. But I've also found some really nice spots. Like there was the one time I'm really sad that we missed it, but that train museum I found.
Right, it was closed when we went there, right?
So the day that we left, we got there too late because it was at the tip of Virginia.
Yeah.
And they had just closed, or like they were like, the waters that come in and we're not really open today. Yeah, we called because it's run by an older gentleman and his wife. And they have this train museum where they actually like drive like a steam train and everything. And it looks so cool. And I knew Nate would love it, but we missed out on it. So I'm hoping maybe finding another thing like that.
For sure.
But there's also this really great children's museum based in, I think it's Virginia, where we stayed the first time we went down to Florida with just Nate. And this museum was beautiful. It was in this old building. It looked like a town hall.
Yeah.
I think it might have been. There was a sign on it or something that said founded in such and such year. I forget exactly the details on the building itself, but the Children's Museum there is that. If you can think about it, it's, town run. It's, nonprofit. So anything you can pay, it's a donation. But when we went there was a toddler room. And at the time, Nate was only, what was he? Like 1.5, maybe?
Well,
because I was 6 months pregnant with Emma.
So, yeah.
So he was like...
a little more than that.
He was like 1 and 8 months old.
Yeah.
And we were in the little toddler area, and they had this cute little like kitchen setup that you had to crawl into if you were an adult. But he could like stand up in it, and he was waddling around, and there was a baby set up in a high chair, and he was feeding the baby, and we were just like, dude, you're such a big helper. Are you going to do this when you get your little sister at home? And like all this stuff. And yeah. Well, he doesn't do that now. And he never did. Did he?
There were some moments.
He tried.
Yeah. He's a little rough around the edges with her now, though.
He's a little feisty. Yeah. But no, it was really sweet. And then like, that was just like the toddler section, which that specifically, they didn't really... It was closed off. So, like, if you had younger kids, you didn't have to worry about the older kids coming in there and trampling them.
Right.
Because I feel like in these children's museums, sometimes the bigger kids, they don't realize how much bigger they are.
Yeah.
And the littles kind of get in the way or run over.
Well, this is why now, this time around, I feel like we might have to divide and conquer.
Yeah.
Like, one of us will be with Nate in some of these instances, and one of us will be with Emma in some of these instances. I do remember when we were going to Nashville, there was a children's museum or whatever you want to call that one that we went to. And there were things that Emma was too little to care. Yeah. But like there was that little like reading area where you just like plopped her there and she's kind of like a potato. And like you were reading to her, and Nate sat there for like a second. And then he got up and you're like, oh, okay, I guess I'm just reading to Emma now. And he went and like, they had this cool like train table.
Yeah.
That he like, you popped underneath it and he was just there moving around all the trains, connecting all of them. That was awesome. And he didn't want to leave because of that. So
I know. And that's the thing. Again, if your child is someone has a hard time walking away from an activity or even just good with schedule and regimen, it's really good to keep that timer in place just to kind of like, even if you want a few reminders, like if they're a child who really needs those, hey, you know, you're going to get an extra minute, but like we're almost there. Like maybe we should even do a couple extra this time, especially because we have the two of them.
Yeah. Also, I think we need something to entice them back to the car.
Sure.
You know, that's why, again, it's good to space out the things that you have for them. So if you're doing what we do in the 2-hour increments, hey guys, when you get back to the car, we have this new snack that you haven't had yet. Or, hey guys, do you know we have this with us? Mm-hmm. You know, like, oh, it's a special car or something that you didn't know we had, you know, like just always enticing them to get back. Mm-hmm. So it's like, oh, okay, well, this was fun, but that sounds cool. So let's do that now, you know?
Yeah. It's kind of one of those things where they're doing something wrong and you're like, redirect. Hey, look what I have.
Right. Oh my God, that's funny because I do this thing to Emma where like she's like going to do something she's not supposed to, or like we're trying to do something in a specific spot with her, like whether it's like, you know, getting her ready for bed or something like that. And I do, Emma, oh my gosh, look at this over here. And she like stops and she's like, what are you talking about at first? And then like I continue to like act really excited. I'm like, oh my God, look at it. Check it out. And you know, she's 2. So by the time she gets over to me, she just doesn't even remember why she came over there.
No.
So I just like, okay, and lay down, and I'm going to change you. So.
Well, it was funny because this afternoon I did that with Nate, and you didn't get it, and I'm like, oh my gosh, Nate, look what Daddy has, and he was like, what? And he like ran over, and you were like, what?
But we were in
what do you want?
We were in different rooms, and she was trying to work, and he, you know, we work from home, and he does this annoying thing sometimes where he's like, open and close the office door and like, hey, how you doing in there? Hey, what do you blah, blah, blah. So she was trying to redirect him to me, but usually it's the other way around. Usually the person that's trying to get the kid away from. So that's why I guess I was confused. Yeah. But it was funny because, so you didn't know the other part of this. So he comes to me, she closes the office door, and I'm like, what is going on? Why did she tell you to come out here? And he's like, oh, Mommy's just being silly. So he is very, he's on to us.
Oh no, the trick stopped working already.
Well, it still kind of did work because he enjoyed it.
He ran.
Yeah, it was like a game for him. Mm-hmm. He knew I didn't have anything though. Like he didn't even look for
Once
anything.
he got out there and he saw you working on your phone, he was like, oh yeah, Daddy doesn't have anything. Never mind. But he went about his business and he stopped bothering me.
Yeah, no, I know.
I'm sorry. He kept bothering you.
It's fine.
He stopped bothering me.
Yeah. But anyway, so yeah.
Children's museums. If you ever locate any children's museums, they're the way to go. They are usually quite inexpensive, if not donation based only. So it's really, hey, however much you want to pay us today, like we really appreciate the donation. Or some of them have like a base cost. I think it's like $12 to $20. It's a pretty, relatively budget friendly based, I think. Right. I mean, usually you're just paying for the kid. You're not really paying for the parent, or you pay for the parent and the kid's free depending on where you go. So it's really like a 2-for-1 ticket anyway. And then with that, you have free reign of the facility. Usually, like there's not like you got in. Well, now you have to pay $15 for the laser tag and do this and do that. Like it's not like I Play America or any of these like indoor amusement parks where you have to do that. This is more of a discovery place. Discovery Zone, right? Is similar to like what this is.
Well, those don't exist anymore, but that was around when we were kids. But
that's what I mean. I'm speaking to the parents who may have been
the 30-somethings.
who may have been to a Discovery Zone when they were kids.
Yeah, children's museums are very much like that. I think they're more in depth though, because a lot of children's museums, my favorite part about them is a lot of them have like little towns in them.
Yeah.
And I love that. I think that's the coolest thing because, and I guess just because knowing myself, if I was a kid, I was always a very creative person and I like to, you know, like, what do they call it in his school? They call it a very specific
Pretend play?
Yeah, I guess pretend play.
Mm-hmm.
But you know, like I just probably would have found that really fun. And Nate loves that kind of stuff. He pretend plays here. He's Doc or Marty all the time, basically.
Yeah.
And but yeah, so these places are really cool. They're definitely worth it. But then also, you know, don't bat an eye at just a simple park. It's free. They have playgrounds. And it gets you guys outside too, because that's the other thing. Like you want a nice, even, you know, you want to keep it even between being in an indoor place and then doing something outside. Because if you're traveling, we're traveling on spring break. You guys, obviously, if you're watching this, may be traveling on spring break as well. So realistically, the entire East Coast should have pretty good weather. Yeah. You know, so you well,
hopefully.
Yeah. I mean, the only thing you really have to worry about is rain. Well, obviously, if you're traveling north, you're going to deal with colder weather right now. But all I'm saying is if you're traveling south, you're probably going to run into good weather anywhere. So you're probably good to go outside pretty much in any state. But, you know, base it around what places that you find that you like that may be indoors, you know? So it's like, oh, cool. This is a cool indoor space. Maybe let's let the next one be something outside. Yeah. And just some variety too. And kids love fresh air. You need fresh air too. So
I think it's also for me, I really make it a point to also have a backup. Like if there's a playground and it's raining and I didn't know it was going to rain, I try and find something to do nearby.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
And like even a hotel, like if you could find a hotel with a pool or a workout room, like that could really help kind of just like if you're staying overnight. Let's say, because I know on our first day, we stay overnight and then we get to our destination second day.
Right.
So when we're going somewhere, I try to find a hotel that if they have something like that, or if they even have like their own playground or something to where it still has that option to stay active. Most times we don't do the pool just because it's exhausting and to have to shower after and all that stuff. But if we get there early enough in the day, and we feel like, you know what, this will be nice. It was kind of hot where we are. And like, let's just take a dip, you know, do an hour of activity, not even a half hour. Just get your blood flow going, you know, especially for like people who can't really sit that long. It's good to just get out of the car every 2 hours anyway, whether you have kids or not, whether you have young kids or older kids. I think it's a good idea to like stop at least for 10 minutes. Just let everyone stretch their legs. Everyone use the bathroom if they need to. Because I know when I was a kid driving to Vermont, it was like we would all pack in the conversion van and most of us were in the back of the van. We couldn't even get out without climbing over each other. And most of us slept halfway through the trip because we left so early in the morning. We'd leave at like 5 a.m.
So it's funny. Good segue. So I know there are certain instances like Nate, hard to get to go to sleep anywhere. Yeah. He will fall asleep in the car sometimes, crossing our fingers that maybe that does happen at some point, especially if we have him going. But Emma will nap. So if those instances come up and she's asleep and, you know, we get to a place in the middle of the day, but we see like Nate's fine, but awake. Sometimes, you know, like we've in the past just like kept going. Like it's like, all right, you know what? Let's go the extra 2 hours because like she's still asleep. Might as well not bother her. You know, let's go as far as we can go. Right. So, you know, don't worry about that too. If you miss one of these places because your kids like change the schedule, that's okay too. Just make sure you're on track of like, as you move through your trip, if something comes up, like maybe you do hit a 3 hour mark because now she woke up or whatever. And on a whim, it's like, okay, well, let's just find a park now or something like that. Yeah. You know, like, don't worry about spending money too. Like, kids don't care how much money you spend. You could go to a park every time and they'd be happy, you know? So.
Oh, yeah. And which we did the first time. We did try to really stick to parks. We went to that one children's museum.
Yeah.
And then that was it. on the way down that
Nate
first time.
Nate was a lot younger though, so it's different. Like now he does understand a lot more, but he likes a good park.
Yeah. I mean, what kid doesn't?
There was that one park. I think this was on our way to Nashville too, or maybe back or to Vermont, but where like they had like a slide built into the side of the mountain.
Yes.
It was really hot there, but like yeah, it had like an outdoor kitchen, like kids' kitchen. It wasn't a real kitchen, but like
it was on the way to Tennessee.
Yeah, that was so cool.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, that was one of the coolest parks. And then they had this cool like photo opportunity spot where they had a frame made, and it was like, I visited here, and like oh my god, the view behind it was beautiful. Yeah. And neither of them would take our picture. Neither of them would take a picture with us.
Well, Emma was a baby.
I know, but like they were just so into playing and just being kids that pictures didn't happen. But that's okay.
Yeah.
But there are some beautiful parks that you can find. And it's funny too, because you don't think about it, but Google actually has reviews on parks. So you can actually see like other people's pictures and really find if this is going to be the right spot for you and your kids.
Yeah.
You know, there are a lot of parks that have age ranges on the play sets. So some play sets are 2 to 5, some are 5 to 12. Those 5 to 12 can be a little harrowing for a under 2 or only 2-year-old.
Yeah.
Even when Nate was 3, I would get nervous on those because he can be a bit adventurous, and at the same time, you know, your heart jumps into your throat because you think, oh my God, he's gonna fall down that pole, that fireman's pole that like a 12-year-old could slide down easily. Like he's just gonna jump out of this hole and not land anywhere. Like he doesn't get that yet.
Right.
But it's good to see those reviews and things beforehand, because then you can really determine what this kind of park is. Yeah, I think that's really been like my mainstay, is just finding good parks, good children's museums. Another good thing about children's museums is a lot of them, if not all of them that we've been to, are handicap accessible. And they also have, a lot of them have like a sensory space. So like if your child is a little, is more overwhelmed by lots of noise, or kind of needs like a chill spot, but like needs to be able to like stretch their legs or just relax and read a book, that's fine. Whatever your child wants to do is great.
We don't have children like that.
We don't. Sometimes I wish that they would just chill for 5 minutes.
Please.
Those spaces are really geared towards kids who have that ability to, or who need that ability to calm down. And that dark, you know, they usually have like little twinkle lights in there, books, little sensory things like fidget spinners and whatever. And, you know, they really do gear towards, again, handicap accessible children on the spectrum and all sorts of kids that may be a little bit more neurodivergent or sensory sensitive. I think those are really good for families who have children like that. So it's definitely something to consider too when you're on a road trip.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, you know, don't always think about your destination is the best thing that we could say. And also, I'm going to throw this out there too. We don't stay in a hotel. Like when we get there, we don't stay in a hotel that's like on park premises, because we like to be a little bit off so that we can, you know, explore other things as well. This time we're a little closer than usual, but don't be afraid to find a resort or something. You know, keep it within your price range, but don't be afraid to find a resort or something that's not part of, you know, if you're going to Florida or anything really, but that's not part of the main thing that you're doing there, because it helps to be like, hey, we're doing this for a day, but we are staying at a place that has all these things built into it, but it's also not overstimulating.
Right.
Because I feel like if you're staying within a theme park, there's just immediate overstimulation when you get out there. Whereas if you stay at a normal resort where there's just some pools and maybe, you know, those like kids water park type things and a playground, even like just these simple things that kids, you know, younger kids can enjoy, I think that goes a lot further than just jumping right out into a theme park in the morning, you know, or even like, you know, oh, hey, we went and we did that thing. Now today we're just hanging out at this resort. It's a more relaxed, chill day. It allows you to have that chill day in between going to a theme park. You know, nobody wants to be at a theme park just 5 straight days.
I mean, people do.
They do.
I don't know how.
That's not a vacation, man.
That's
sorry.
Stressful.
Yeah.
I can't imagine doing these 2 days, let alone doing 5 days.
Yeah, we purposely are setting this vacation up to be just 2 days at, you know, we're spending 1 day at Hollywood Studios, 1 day at Universal, and then, you know, we're staying at a resort where we can relax. There are nature walks there, pools, and then, you know, she has some friends down in Florida that we're going to see. So, yeah, I mean, this isn't just, hey, let's go to Disney and do it, yeah! So I know that a lot of people like that, and you know, hey, if that's your thing and you enjoy it, cool, go for it. We like to relax if we can.
Yeah, we try to have a little bit of chill time, at least just to be with each other and kind of spend a nice day by the pool or in the hotel.
Yeah, make sure too, you know, same thing. If you have young kids, make sure you find a hotel room that accommodates that so you can have time to yourselves when the kids are asleep. Because if you stick yourself in a position where you're just in a normal hotel room, or you're in a hotel room with 2 beds or something and there's no lounge area or a living room space, you're kind of stuck, and that's it. Your night ends when your kid's night ends. Like, you're on vacation. We enjoy our time after the kids go to sleep, and that's the time we get to be together and do things that we're not going to do with them. So make sure you take that into consideration, because you're going to go crazy if you don't have a place to do that.
Yeah, so. I agree.
Cool. So, road tripping. Have fun.
It'll be great. It'll be great. You'll do fine.
Well, I'm Matt.
I'm Jackie. Here are the Hahns signing out.
Thank you so much for listening to Couple Chat. Make sure to subscribe to us on Spotify or YouTube Music, and check out our YouTube page to see this episode in video. Thank you to Hahn Films for editing and producing this episode. Talk to you soon.